Alright, so if you're familiar with this channel, then you already know that I'm a die-hard Martin fan. And today I just want to talk about an episode that's always stood out to me in the series, and not because it's a bad episode or anything like that. It's actually pretty solid and hilarious, but everything about it is just off, from the structure to the relationship dynamics. And at a certain point in this episode, you're not even sure what's real anymore. So without further ado, let's just get right into this one. This is the weirdest episode of Martin. Season 2, episode 24, Crunchy Draws. Now, first off, this title is already just hilarious, but let's just talk about the episode, because it opens up and right away Martin's in his apartment with his robe on, and there's candles lit everywhere, the lights low, all that kind of jazz. It's this whole romantic setup, and he's talking to somebody at the door, and that person walks through the door, and it ends up being Pam of all people. And you just kind of assume that it was going to be Gina, but then it's just like this jump scare of Pam, and Martin wakes up screaming. And then they immediately cut into the intro. And when we come back, he's sitting there in bed with Gina and trying to explain kind of what he's freaking out about. But right as he goes to tell her, he stops and realizes that he can't tell her. He doesn't want to tell her the truth. He dances around it and kind of just lies about what the dream was about, really.
I dreamt that I was at a party and you were on the microphone freestyling, Gina. I was embarrassed by your non-rhyming skills.
So Gina just gets annoyed with him and tells him to go back to sleep. So he does, and as soon as he gets back into the dream, him and Pam are sitting on the couch drinking this wine, saying some of the most disgusting commentary between the two that you'll hear in the entire series.
Your sticky knots, sticky, they turning me on.
And right when they start to embrace each other, he wakes up screaming again. And now Gina she's heated, bro. She kicks him out of the room, tells him to kick rocks, and now he's got to go sleep in the living room. And when he's coming into the living room, we see none other than our boy Braum Man sitting at the kitchen making a sandwich. And he tells Braum Man about the dream and kind of what he's going through. And so Braum Man hits him with some actual deep philosophy, basically telling him this might be a repressed desire or something like that. And that's what these dreams could mean for him.
Fraud and them said,
Who fraud?
you know, the white philosopher, when he said the dreams are like repressed desires, are the things that we wish we could have.
Martin is shocked to hear some philosophy coming from Braum Man, but it actually makes him start to tweak out a little bit. And so Braum Man says his goodbyes and he dips, and then Martin goes to laying back down on the couch and he tries to get some more sleep. And so the dream continues just a little bit further. As he's kissing the buckshots, he wakes up screaming again, and his boy Tommy and Cole are there in the living room, and they're upset with Martin, asking him what's so important that they had to get up and come over at 4 in the morning. And so he explains kind of what the deal is, and they are clowning him, laughing about everything he's saying. They're not taking any of this seriously. And then Tommy basically tells him that dreams are crazy. All kinds of crazy stuff happens in them, and it's kind of out of our control. It's just fantasy. Whatever it is, it doesn't mean anything.
Brother, we all have crazy dreams, man. It don't mean anything.
And so him and Cole end up dipping out, and Martin's sitting there, and he's just thinking about what Tommy said. And as he's doing that, Pam just so happens to walk through the door, claiming that she just left the party and that she just needed a place to crash for the night. And at first, Martin seems super uncomfortable with this, and he doesn't want her to be there. He tells her, tries to figure out any other way for her to get home, and she's not going for it. So instead, he actually decides that he's going to confront the issues that he's having, and he tells her about the dreams he's been having about her.
I've been having some wild dreams about you.
Say what?
And then they get into this weird kind of hate you and hate you too type of thing, and it's really about this, it's about something else obviously, and they start making out. And all of a sudden Tommy and Cole pop up from behind the couch, and Tommy's got this huge afro and Cole's sitting over there on the side bald with glasses. And that's when it hits you that everything you just saw was a dream. This episode is stacking dreams on top of dreams on top of dreams. It's like Martinception in here, and this makes you question the entirety of the episode. I mean, this what even is real inside of this. We don't even know, because the only moments that might be real at this point are the scenes where he's in bed talking to Gina, and maybe the scene with Braum Man, but even that we're not sure, because when he wakes up back in bed with Gina. So you're sitting there wondering, did he ever get out of bed in the first place? Did he ever even go to the living room and sit on the couch or try to sleep on the couch? Was any of that real at all? And you're just kind of not sure. But regardless, Martin wakes up here and he tells Gina about what's going on again, and she tells him that the only way to get over it is to finish the dream and see it through. And so he reluctantly agrees to that, and he decides to finish the dream. And when he goes back in, him and Pam are continuing this romantic night, but this is where the twist happens, because he ends up dropping a giant weight and murdering her. And it was actually pretty gruesome, for a sitcom death. They showed the hands twitching and all this, like, it was the feet twitching, all this, it was a little bit wild for a sitcom murder. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Regardless, he wakes up and he's relieved that all of this wasn't about sex at all. It was, he's vindicated in his feelings that he actually does hate her, and his fantasy is murdering her. So I guess that's something. But there's a extra twist here where they show Pam across town having the exact same dream, but instead in hers, she ends up killing Martin. So you kind of realize, like, they're both having the same nightmare about each other. But again, like I said, you're kind of left wondering if any of this episode was real. Like, was the whole thing just a dream? And to throw the cherry on top of how weird this episode is, they put an Otis skit at the end. Like, this is like really, really weird, because these type of skits, when they do happen, they don't always happen, but when they do happen, they're usually at the beginning of the episode, right before the intro. Correct, if anybody knows this, correct me if I'm wrong. I looked around, I was checking a bunch of episodes, I didn't check them all, but I couldn't find a single other episode where they put the skit at the end, after. And so, like I said, they're just throwing the cherry on top of extra weirdness to this episode structurally. And all in all, I think that's why this is just the weirdest episode to me. It's not a bad episode at all. I actually really enjoyed it. I like wondering and this kind of mystery of what was real, what was not. And then scenes between Pam and Martin 100% made me uncomfortable as hell. But at the end of the day, I liked the twist, the payoff. It kind of made everything make sense, and I didn't have to feel like, oh, that I just watched all of that for nothing. Either way, the structure and these dynamics, and most of this episode is just like all over the place. And again, you're not even sure what's real. It feels like you're watching Martin's subconscious or something like that the entire time. You're just inside the mind of this guy, and like I said, somehow it still works. I still love the episode. But either way, I just want to know what you guys think. What's the weirdest episode to you? Do you agree with me on this one, or do you have another pick for that spot? And if you do, definitely name off the reasonings why in the comments. But other than that, I appreciate all of y'all for watching and sticking with me, and all the love is 100% appreciated.